A very good morning to you watching. This is Smart Minutes Business. Today is Monday, the 19th of Feb, 2023, and of course, here to get another week for you to be grateful to God that you've made it. Well, my name is Masika Tsime, and I'm going to be taking you all the way from 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. And of course, getting straight to the point, as we're going to be exploring the implications of Uganda's narcotic legislation. As you well know, very soon it's going to be illegal for one to grow narcotics. You can say cat or you can say marijuana. Yeah, those who have illnesses and you've been prescribed, you'll have to have a prescription later for it to be valid. Well, Parliament passed the narcotics and psychotropic substances control bill last year, which allowed the licensed farming and use of marijuana strictly for medical use and set harsh penalties for a multitude of offenses related to substance abuse. Well, much as marijuana or cat or narcotics are medicinal in one way or the other, they have been associated to one of the reasons as to why people are becoming crazy these days, because we are misusing the drug. Everywhere you go, someone has a blunt, they are smoking and wherever the good time they have. So it's going to be strictly for medicinal purposes. If at all you have it in large quantities, you have to be certified, you have to be licensed as a person who grows cat. So, farmers have come up and said it's going to hinder their business. Well, it's illegal in Uganda for one. It is illegal in Uganda for one actually to grow cat. Well, of course, when this a bill was passed, a lot of controversies came about. Like I said, the farmers were unhappy about the implications. And of course, there's been penalties that have been set in place if at all you do not comply to the bill, the legislation. Of course, billions of money are going to be spent. You either go to jail or you spend billions of money. And of course, shortly, I'm going to be telling you the penalties for these lawbreakers. Yeah, in our country, Uganda. So we hope that this is going to be for the benefit of us, so that we can actually reduce on the substance intake in Uganda, because everywhere you go on the streets, someone is selling something, which I believe shouldn't be the reason. Because now, if they tell you almost 30% of Ugandans have mental illnesses. And of course, a certain percentage attributed to drug addiction. That means that is not left out at the end of the day, that people consume marijuana on a daily, people consume drugs that may actually not be good for their health. So in just short possible time, I'll be giving you the penalties that these people have been associated if I told you are growing narcotics in Uganda. However, there are other alternatives that you can set into place, and mostly when it comes to reducing the addiction of marijuana. It's a very hard to do away with. At the end of the day, you need to do something. Some, it could be chewing it. Some, it could be through smoking it. Some, putting it in food. You've seen some people having it in food. And for some, genuinely, it is for medicinal purposes. Mostly those that have high blood pressure, other diseases in Uganda. So definitely, that is what is happening in Uganda. So we believe that everything is going to come to pass at the end of the day. So last year, it was a heated debate, on the penalties. Some feel like it's a lot. $1 billion is a lot. Well, if you know you're in illegal possession of something that was banned, why would you actually feel like the punishment is actually heavy? Now, under the clause 7A of the pharmacist who proceeds any prohibited drugs or substances under the Act will suffer 1 billion fine. Those 1 billion fine, or you face 10 years in jail. This is serious. This is just so whoever is a pharmacist and you are selling these drugs illegally without any license, you're going to face 10 years in prison, or you pay a fine of 1 billion shillings. Now, also clause 8, medical professionals who are in intervention of their drugs under this act, the act that I've been telling you, prescribe or supply prohibited substance will have their names removed from the registry profession. So that is in line with professional health workers, those that are into distribution of medicine. Now, of course, clause 10 of the bill, it goes in big protection of children with a life imprisonment awaiting anyone who intoxicates them with drugs or these very, very substances. So it is prohibited to sell these drugs to young children. So either you face jail for 10 years, I mean, the penalties are the same, 1 billion, or you face jail for 10 years. Yeah, so there were very many laws that were put up for children, for farmers, for medical doctors, those that are into pharmaceutical and the like. So definitely, you have to be careful one way or the other. If it is enforced, very people. Now, farmers involved in the cultivation of the prohibited substance will have to obtain licenses from the health ministry. Yes, and those who fail to do so will suffer jail. Yeah, they will suffer jail for 10 years. Yeah, so that is also for farmers. We had the ones for pharmacists. We had those that sell it to young children. Yeah, so drugs. So we have cut tobacco, cut meirungi. Yes, and then tobacco. Then we have weed, marijuana. So definitely that is going to be illegal very soon. But with the shortest time possible, I'll be giving an alternative for those that are trying to do away with drug addiction. Yeah, if you want to do away with, I'll be giving you an option. And of course, it's in Uganda already, so get ready to receive that kind of help. So those are the clauses under this bill that was passed on last year. Yeah, about about narcotics substance in Uganda. So currently, that is what is happening, and of course, we are here to see how they're going to enforce to play this bill into a practice. Well, I'm joined with Andrew, and of course, to be giving us his view on this very matter on the use of narcotics in our country, Uganda. Well, it's 11 minutes past 7 a.m. I mean 12 minutes past 7 a.m. And of course, we shall go into what is happening into the press. Well, with me, I have the New Vision, and of course, making headlines here. Government bans building fees in all schools, and of course, 11 other charges government has stopped. Yes, that is when you get yourself a copy of the New Vision, and a lot has been happening over the weekend. Well, massive discounts at some expo, and of course, why IGG backed off the 164 billion cooperatives case. And of course, Museveni was also launching the UPDF establishment book. All that if you get yourself a copy of the new vision.
Now, to the Daily Monitor here, seeing 900 schools in the city illegal. That's according to the Kampala City Council Authority. And of course, seeing the Deputy Director of Education at Kampala City Authority saying that 928 schools out of the 1,986 learning institutions in the capital are not registered. That is simply because they do not meet the set standards. Now, of course, Burundi joins SADC forces as the United States tells M23 to withdraw. Of course, we're talking about matters in the Democratic Republic of Congo, as we clearly know. Shekedi now requires the SADC forces to be the ones in charge of security, and the government eyeing 15 minerals to develop the auto parts industry. And now taking a look at brief for the East African here still, Congo is banning. Kinshasa and the Rwanda leaders have treaded blame on who is funding the new violence that is in the restive eastern region. But definitely in the jungles are also foreigners who are exploiting the blood minerals. Deep insights as you grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor and the East African this morning.
Well, the First Lady met the American filmmaker, that is Peter Greenback. And of course, he works with the media group. And of course, he's going to be carrying out a documentary in Uganda. And of course, showcasing the whole world on how beautiful Uganda is. And of course, that is going to be as a way of boosting tourism in our country, Uganda. Of course, well, Science and Technology Council releases strict guidelines for research on people. Well, and this has new guidelines for scientific researchers researching human beings. Now, under the new guidelines, researchers are required to obtain informed consent before obtaining human materials, avoiding fabrication of data, avoiding claiming false authorship. Engaged communities are to be involved in this research, signing of agreements for data sharing and partnerships, and ensure privacy. So you have to know your rights as a person. Just in case someone is carrying out research, you have to be informed of what the requirements are needed. Well, of course, while the RGG probes into the 160 billion cooperatives fund probe, yes, they're under investigation with the Police Criminal Investigation Directorate. So that is what is happening in the different cooperatives. 164 billion funds missing in action. What does that mean for us as a country, Uganda? Much as we have the anti-corruption unit, we have the IGG. What is happening? Every now and again, the reports looking into the different entities, organizations on the money missing. Should we say accountability has failed Ugandans? That is why we're losing out on money? Well, that is a question to be answered. And one of these days, if we get someone to talk on the matter.
Okay, now talking about the East African still, Uganda, IPS in a $400 million fertilizer factory deal. That is more details of that. When you grab yourself a copy of the East African, you'll find out what it really entails. And somebody here says that the plant is to be built in Karuma, will produce about 200,000 tons of nitrogen fertilizer annually. That is every year. And now Kenya, Uganda, Burundi is called poorly on governance. Now the latest global index says the trio have stagnated on democratic values as Tanzania, Rwanda, and Democratic Republic of Congo have definitely improved. And of course, this is in line with the recent corruption perception index that was released by Transparency International. These very countries, actually, Uganda, Kenya, when it comes, they scored actually in low percentages. Tanzania improved with 42%. Rwanda also was fairly okay, and the DRC. Now Same applies now to the latest global index, which says the trial have stagnated. That is on democratic values, as Tanzania, Rwanda, and DRC have definitely improved. So that means there is a relationship between governance and corruption. So that is something that you can take a look into. And the many sides of the deadly conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And of course, seeing here, authorities grapple with an angry public in Kinshasa. Now, taking a look at the Daily Monitor, just briefly. Of course, a minister rallies Ugandans on digital number plate. Of course, the minister says digital plates will play a crucial role in curbing and combating crime in the country. Now, of course, UCE results 2023. You can page here. People here saying we made it with the flying colors. So that was quite a remarkable perspective that way. And now here in the opinion section, somebody says my personal encounter with impunity on Kampala roads. So you will really check out and get to see his experience, what it was like there.
Well, of course, demystifying dishonesty in security against the ID registration, like I'd said, for those that are going to delay on renewing their national IDs, a fee is going to be for 40,000. So you can imagine if the time has passed for renewals and you come late, you will be subjected to a fee of 40,000. If they have said we have 3 months and you come after those 3 months, it's going to be in for it, which I feel is quite unfair because, I mean, what if I'm not in the country by then?
Well, a lot needs to be revised when it comes to matters to do with that, to sort all kinds of individuals. Now, here, somebody in the East African, they say why Kenya, the Kenyan shilling, is actually strengthening against the US dollar. Of course, at the beginning of this year, Kenya was experiencing quite lots of date-related aspects, staggering domestic date, talking about the financial markets really being fairly stable, but of course, above all, the declining shilling against the dollar. Well, that is it from the press brief. Of course, we take a look at what is happening into the world of traffic. It's a Monday morning, and of course, that looks like Ginger Road linking up with the Kampala Road, and you can see it's of course it's definitely a little bit congested, according to that. And taking a look at the Airtel roundabout in the corner there, of course, it connects the Port Bell Road together there. Because remember, talking about the areas in Ginger Road, that is Chireka, Banda, Nakawa side, and even some people from Tinde, and many more on that long rain as Saba coming in from Mukono. Now all the battle comes still as they mingle with the vehicles that are coming in from Lozira, Bugolobi, Chitintale. I mean, talking about places like Lozira, Mutungo. All majority of those people actually pass through that route, and they link up with the old Port Bell Road, as they call it. And now we see that corner, that junction is fairly congested. And, definitely, some vehicles are not necessarily heading to the city center, but of course some are continuing through that roundabout and head towards Kololo side. Depending on the errands that they have to take care of. But that alone, and the fact that certain vehicles want to cross over to head to the other side and others to over this side, well, it makes it quite harder, to control. So you can really see a huge congestion. So if you're coming in from Lozira, you're coming in from Bugolobi, you're coming in from Chitintale, well, and you're sitting off right about now, well, chances are high you'll spend about 5 or actually 10 minutes on average for you to reach the city center or any other given destination because of this congestion. Remember, the school's already in operation, so that also contributes to this. You can see some of the school students are planning to cross the roads. Yeah, so that in some kind of a way contributes to the congestion levels that we're observing. Now, still switching away from that, we head exactly straight towards that is Access Road, of course, which is also a route adjacent to the Yusuf Lule Road. It just connects in together and with Kampala Road heading onwards. And that's one of the roads actually that got a benefit from the recent summits. Roundabout had quite a number of potholes, but right about now, there is it's smooth actually, I would say that. But still, that doesn't exclude the jump. Back to this Monday morning, it links up with people from in the different industrial areas, talking about 6th Street, 7th Street, and 8th Street at the same time. All those areas link up to that route, accompanied with those people that are coming in from Kabalagala, Kansanga, Chibuli, and many more of those areas, and also accompanied with the industrial area people still, Namuongo people, and that route is also accompanied with massive pedestrians, yeah, they majority are coming from those, given residential areas, most especially Namuongo side. They move, so that also contributes to the huge congestion just right down there. Now, adjusting a little bit to see the Yusuf Lule Road, you can, still we observe vehicles that are coming in from the city and they're heading towards Ginger Road. They're normally held by the traffic lights, but like I say, if you don't want to be to be held for that long, you can use the Nile Avenue route, link up to Garden City, and then proceed straight. That is in case you're continuing to Ginger Road. But unlike for those that are heading in other destinations, probably you're heading towards Access Road, then you'll have to be patient, because even if you used the Nile Avenue route, you'll still be held in the jam before you're set free to go to the Access Road. But for those that are heading straight to Kampala, into Ginger Road, and then probably you're destined to Nakawa, you can use the Garden City and Nile Avenue routes and get straight. Well, definitely that winds up our traffic report this morning. I can see Kampala Road is actually a little congested, seeing quite a number of vehicles. Yeah, but all in all, the Port Bell Road is more congested as compared to the other routes, and of course that is Kampala, where Ginger Road joins the Port Bell Road this morning. Is quite a havoc along that road. Well, it's exactly 25 minutes past 7. Our Smart Means Business takes a short break, and of course we return with the Caribbean, East Africa, and the international updates. Stick around.